This is WNBF News at 7. Thanks for being here and happening right now. President Trump speaking to the American people in the White House briefing room. This as a number of states continue counting and finalizing those votes. We want to listen in.
We want honest people working back there because it's a very important job. So that's the way this country is going to win. That's the way the United States will win. And we think we will win the election very easily. We think there's going to be a lot of litigation because we have so much evidence, so much proof, and it's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land. We'll see. But we think there'll be a lot of litigation because we can't have an election stolen like this. And I tell you, I have been talking about this for many months with all of you, and I've said very strongly that mail-in ballots are going to end up being a disaster. Small elections were a disaster. Small, very easy to handle elections were disastrous. This is a large-scale version, and it's getting worse and worse every day. We're hearing stories that are horror stories, absolute horror stories, and we can't let that happen to the United States of America. It's not a question of who wins, Republican, Democrat, Joe, myself. We can't let that happen to our country. We can't be disgraced by having something like this happen. So it will be hopefully cleared up, maybe soon, I hope soon, but it'll probably go through a process, a legal process. And as you know, I've claimed certain states, and he's claiming states, and we can both claim the states. But ultimately, I have a feeling judges are going to have to rule. But there's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country. Thank you very much.
Are you being a sore loser? Haley, are you here as press secretary?
We have been listening live to the President of the United States speaking from the White House briefing room. President Trump says that he does still believe that he is going to win the election, and he says that it'll hopefully go through a process to the courts. He says that from the beginning, he said mail-in ballots are going to be a disaster. He said he's been saying that for months, but he is still holding his head high, believing this will take a legal route and that he will continue to be the President of the United States. The latest now on the race to the 270 electoral votes. Right now, the Associated Press has Biden just 6 votes shy of becoming the next president with 264 votes. Meanwhile, the AP reports President Trump has 214. There are a number of battleground states we're still awaiting votes for, including Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Earlier today, Vice President Joe Biden also spoke to the American people as votes continue to be counted. Now, he urged everyone to practice patience. Let's listen in.
In America, the vote is sacred. It's how people of this nation express their will. And it is the will of the voters, no one, not anything else, that chooses the President of the United States of America. So each ballot must be counted. And that's what we're going to see going through now. And that's how it should be.
With lawsuits filed in several states, one political expert says there's one state in particular to keep a close eye on. He says the biggest question these cases are going to deal with is whether the votes that came in after the polls closed should be counted. Every state has their own legislation and process that makes that call, meaning in some states the president won't have a real case. There is one state that could have its case go to the Supreme Court.
Pennsylvania Supreme Court decided that ballots that came in up through Friday, November the 6th at 5 o'clock could be counted. And the reasoning in that particular case was because of the pandemic, because more people voted absentee or by mail. But that was a 4-4 vote, and that was before Justice Barrett was confirmed.
And he says he thinks Republicans will ask the court to rehear the case now that there's a different composition. We also continue to see a close race for the U.S. House of Representatives. Right now, the Associated Press has the Democrats holding a 208 to 191 lead. One of the U.S. House seats that flipped is right here in South Carolina. Republican Nancy Mace is projected winner in our state's first congressional district race. Mace took 51% of the votes over incumbent Democrat Joe Cunningham's 49%. Cunningham won that seat in 2018, the first Democrat to win that district in decades. Cunningham's re-election campaign released a statement saying every vote must be counted before he will concede the race. Meanwhile, Mace met with supporters yesterday to celebrate her projected win. She says she's proud to see the large voter turnout and is ready to get to work. We are also tracking the balance of power in the U.S. Senate. The Associated Press is calling 31 of the 35 seats up for the election. As of this hour, both parties have 48 seats. Each of them have that. 51 seats are needed to control the Senate. It's been 48 hours since the election polls closed Tuesday night, yet the Horry County Election Office submitted its total voting numbers just 1 hour ago. WNBF News reporter Jennifer Roberts joins us outside the elections office. So, Jennifer, why was there a delay in reporting those final voting numbers?
Eric, in my hands, I'm holding a USB device. According to the elections office, a device similar to this one malfunctioned on election night. That resulted in thousands of absentee ballots having to be rescanned. That delayed voting numbers from being reported to the state. Election Director Sandy Martin told me ES&S, the scanning equipment manufacturer, has been on the election office site all day rescanning nearly 18,000 absentee ballots. This comes after the South Carolina Election Commission instructed the Horry County Election Office to rescan the ballots after a technical glitch occurred on election night. Martin says the USB device used to upload the absentee voting numbers to the state's election site malfunctioned. So they had to rescan the ballots in order to input that information back into the election system. Some people wanted to know if rescanning the ballots would impact any of the local election races. Martin says not a chance.
The majority of our candidates were unopposed anyway, and from what I remember, the ones that weren't unopposed, there was a pretty good difference in between them. So it would, we're only talking 18,000 votes, and they wouldn't all be for one particular district. So.
Martin confirmed the absentee ballot numbers were uploaded to the state's election site. The site is reflecting 100% voting numbers reported for Horry County. Martin used one word to describe the last 24 hours. Frustrating. Hear why tonight at 11. Live in Horry County, I'm Jennifer Roberts, WNBF News.
Let's take you to the PD now, where Teresa Myers Irvin's election as mayor of Florence was historic. She becomes the first woman and African-American to serve in the office. WNBF News reporter Cameron Crowe spoke with the mayor-elect about the transition process, what her focus is as she takes over the reins of that city.
Mayor-elect Teresa Myers Irvin says it's been a long few days and she's looking forward to catching up on some rest this weekend. But right now, she's focused on making sure it's a smooth transition, as yesterday she met with current Mayor Stephen Wakila and City Manager Randy Osterman. It's an interesting time to take over as a city leader with COVID-19 still spreading in the community. As a nurse, Myers Irvin says leading the city out of the pandemic will be her main focus. Another major concern for Myers Irvin is economic development. She played a big role in the development of downtown Florence, and she wants to continue that growth throughout the whole city. Myers Irvin's election was historic as she became the first woman and African American elected as Florence's mayor.
So when I look at our city being able to do that by electing me, I see that we have got a great future ahead of us that will afford opportunity to anyone who has the character and the ability to do it. And that is what I believe will make our city a leading city.
Myers Irvin says she looks forward to working with the new city council and the people of Florence as she hopes to move Florence forward. Reporting in Florence, I'm Cameron Crowe, WNBF News.
The temperature is a little bit slower to drop tonight. The warmer weather continues to move in and turning a bit more muggy as well here the next couple of days. Right now we're sitting in the 60s, a couple spots in the upper 50s inland, but overall it is warmer tomorrow morning, right around 60 along the Grand Strand. And we'll see those middle to upper 50s primarily farther inland, and those will continue to climb once we get into the weekend. Tomorrow afternoon, it's another round of 70s, likely well into the middle 70s just about everywhere. What we will see, though, is onshore winds helping to swing in some showers through the afternoon hours. Future radar, 4 o'clock. A couple of those showers around, especially across Horry County and Georgetown counties. Not just Friday. Keep some of those rain chances going through the weekend. I'll break down your full weekend forecast. Look through Sunday here in a few more minutes.
A missing Horry County child has been found safe. Police say Saudi Hernandez disappeared near Andover Drive around 2:30 this afternoon. Not clear where he was discovered. Police thank everyone, though, for getting that word out. Coming up, the woman charged with throwing her 2 newborn children into the trash, resulting in their deaths. learned how long she'll spend behind bars. You're going to hear from Alyssa Daywalt herself next at 7. She threw her newborns into the trash. Today, that North Myrtle Beach woman received her sentence, 40 years in prison. WNBF Zach Wilcox has more on Alyssa Daywalt's sentencing hearing as she spoke for the first time since her arrest.
The day Daywalt was convicted, she was a no-show in court, so the judge sealed the sentence and read it to her today. And just before she was taken away, we heard Daywalt speak for the first time since she was arrested.
I'm so sorry that not only they've lost their grandson, but the fact that they've lost a relationship with my daughters as well. But I just hope that maybe one day that my family and them will be able to forgive me.
A plea for forgiveness wound up being the bookend on the Alyssa Daywalt homicide by child abuse case. Daywalt received 2 40-year sentences, one for each child she confessed to throwing in the trash.
The parole structure is considered a no parole offense, which means it's a day-for-day sentence in South Carolina.
I especially want to apologize to the teachers. I've never meant to do anything. I never harmed anyone. I made a horrible mistake in my actions, how I handled this.
The father of Daywalt's children, Chris Matishan, listened quietly to Alyssa's apology.
I heard from the victim's family.
Chief Deputy Solicitor Scott Hickson talked with the family after the hearing.
As you can imagine, it's sorrow and joy, and it's all over the place. It's over. We know how the story is going to end now, but I think everybody wishes they could have been there to do something.
Hickson says he's used to handling murder cases, so being on a case involving 2 newborns comes with a different challenge and message.
And the element of proof that we had to prove is not the intentional act of killing, is the abuse or neglect of a newborn. You don't have to do that. Don't do that. Ask for help and people will help you.
The judge says Daywalt's no-show in court last month did not affect his sentencing decision. In Conway, Zach Wilcox, WNBF News.
In your Crime Watch tonight, the man wanted in connection with the theft of a shrimp boat over the weekend is now in custody. The Georgetown County Sheriff's Office says Daniel Janowski was arrested late last night after authorities saw him preparing to board a boat near the Georgetown harbor. He's accused of stealing the Lila Lee from the Marlin K Marina in Murrells Inlet early Saturday morning. That boat was found about a day after it was reported stolen. Janowski is being held at the Georgetown County Detention Center pending a bond hearing. New for you tonight, a judge has rejected defense requests to move the trial of 4 former Minneapolis police officers charged in the death of George Floyd. Defense attorneys argued pretrial publicity made it impossible for the 4 men to get a fair trial in Minneapolis. The judge also decided all 4 will be tried together instead of separately. Derek Chauvin is charged with unintentional second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. The 3 other former officers, Thomas Lane, Jay Kung, and Tao Thao, are charged with aiding and abetting.
Now the certified most accurate forecast from First Alert meteorologist Robert Whitehurst.
Warm weather's not going anywhere. Likely for the next 9 to 10 days. We'll keep things unseasonably warm. That starts tomorrow morning. Only dropping into the lower 60s, 70s as we head through the afternoon. There also will be some showers around. It's not all that widespread, but with onshore winds here the next few days, we'll likely see showers develop offshore and then push their way onshore as we head through the afternoon and evening hours. We'll see that Friday. They kind of wind down overnight. And then as we head into Saturday, more of those try to swing their way in. The best chance of seeing the rain in Horry County, Georgetown counties, it's not all that widespread. Any sort of heavy, steady rain is going to hold off until next week. So for the weekend, it gradually gets warmer. Each afternoon, a couple degrees warmer than the one before at 75 Saturday, 77 on Sunday. Our average high 69 to 70. So we are well above average here through the weekend. In those mornings, the 30s and 40s long gone for now. About 30 degrees warmer compared to what we've seen this week at times. 65 degrees is all we managed by Sunday morning. Still have Ada to our south, much weaker now for making landfall, but it is expected to reemerge here in the western portions of the Caribbean and re-strengthen into a tropical storm as it makes its way over Cuba, near the Keys, and then back out into the Gulf of Mexico. So no direct impact to the Carolinas, but a lot of that moisture begins to lift to the north, and I mentioned some heavier rain for next week. That's when that moisture gets in here. So notice Tuesday is still to our south, but then it really starts to flow in here as we get through Wednesday. And if we're going to see some steadier, heavier rain, it'll be Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So you'll notice those rain chances around this weekend. Isolated showers turning a bit more widespread, though, and we may see those chances increase a bit for next Wednesday as we get a little bit closer. So here's 7-day forecast. Again, no drops here over the next week. The mornings just continue to get warmer, only falling to 70 by next week. Afternoon highs approaching 80 here along the Grand Strand through the next 6 to 7 days. And we'll begin to see some of those 80s inland, getting very close Sunday and likely approaching 80 by next Tuesday.
Next in sports, the 15th ranked Chanticleers are back at home for a Saturday night matchup against South Alabama. How CCU's defense looks to contain the Jags' dual quarterback threat. Plus, all eyes are on North Myrtle Beach as they get ready for tomorrow's big game. How the team is preparing for the Seahawks' fast-moving offense and game-changing defense. Good evening and welcome back for your sports. I'm Gabe McDonald. We're just 2 days away from the Chants returning to the Teal Turf. And unlike home games of recent weeks, this one will be under the lights as Coastal hosts South Alabama. The Jags enter the matchup with a 3-3 record and are just behind the Cajuns for the top spot in the West. Much like another conference foe in Arkansas State, South Alabama features a two-quarterback system offensively. Sophomore Desmond Trotter has gotten the bulk of the reps, but JUCO transfer Chance Levertich has seen his fair share of action thus far. The duo has combined for over 1,500 yards and 13 scores. No matter who is under center, the Chants say they'll be well prepared to attack it.
They're pretty dynamic. I feel like we're going to approach it the same way. Challenge-wise, we just got to make sure we're playing within ourselves. Technique-wise, just make sure we're doing what we need to do and, learning the schemes like we need to.
What do they try to do with one of them as compared to the other one? Is there a distinct different style? Like when this one's in, they do more RPOs or more play actions. This one, it's more deep passes. And you got to try to distinguish that. And then once you do, when they're in there, you have to have your calls that match that. Now for us, regardless who's in there, we've got to limit their big plays.
In the SEC, after a bye week, South Carolina is back to work this weekend with their own tough test as they host a Texas A&M team ranked in the top 10 in the country. Will Muschamp confirmed that Colin Hill will remain the starter at quarterback, although he did say Ryan Helinski and former Myrtle Beach Seahawk Luke Doty got a lot more reps during the bye week. Carolina comes into this one at 2-3 on the season. Muschamp says he was hoping for more.
Well, I expected it to be tough every week, and it's been tough every week, and unfortunately we're sitting here at 2-3. And, didn't think we'd be in this spot, but this is where we are, and we got to continue to take them one at a time, and every week is a season and focus on that, and then we're focused on Texas A&M. This is where we are.
And we shift to high school ball now, and we have a huge one on tap tomorrow night in our game of the week between North Myrtle Beach and Myrtle Beach. The Chiefs enter Friday's Battle of the Beach with a 5-0 record and a number 2 ranking in Class 4A. North Myrtle also enters tomorrow well rested. The Chiefs had a bye after last week after taking down West Florence in Week 5. With such a talented and hungry team like Myrtle Beach on the other side, the Chiefs aim to make the most of the extra prep.
It benefited us a lot getting that extra week because they're a very good team over there. And I think that the extra prep we got really helped us a lot these last 2 weeks.
We know they're a very tough, competitive team, and we also have that competitive likeness between that team every year that we go against. So we really think we have a good shot at competing with them this year.
We did a good job last week of getting a lot of stuff installed. Then we got a few more things this weekend, just off the new film we got. So we can't ask for any better situation than what we're in. Everybody's rested, everybody's healthy.
And finally this evening, one of our high school standouts in Horry County made his college choice last night. Green Sea Floyd's running back Jaquan Dixon is taking his talents to Atlanta to join the Panthers of Georgia State. Dixon leaves behind quite the legacy in Green Sea as he finished with over 4,700 yards from scrimmage and 73 touchdowns. And of course, those 2 state championship rings. And that's a wrap for sports. Loaded show coming your way at 11 as we'll talk more CCU game of the week and have highlights of our lone Thursday night game across the area. Robert, I'm going to send it over to you.
And it's going to be warmer tomorrow night. Warmer weather moving again, but also some showers towards the weekend. All that First Alert forecast here at 7:30.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WMBF News at 7:30.
We're glad you're with us for your news at 7:30. I'm Eric Weisfeld, and we want to get you caught up on the number of coronavirus cases in our state. State health officials announcing 524 new cases in South Carolina, 36 of those right here in Horry County, 14 in Florence County, 16 in Georgetown County. The percentage of tests coming back positive is currently at 17.9%. If you're looking to get tested for the coronavirus, you'll have two chances tomorrow. The first will be at Wild Water and Wheels, that's in Surfside Beach. The second will be set up at the old Hemingway Hospital and EMS base on Hemingway Highway. Both will run from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the Department of Health and Environmental Control says the recent rise in COVID cases can be attributed to an anticipated fall surge. In a statement, DHEC's interim director of public health saying, in part, quote, "We must double down on our efforts in order to prevent a second wave in South Carolina. We understand that COVID-19 fatigue is occurring and we're all wishing for a return to normalcy. But think of our first responders, doctors, nurses, law enforcement officers, and essential workers who, although exhausted, keep working to keep us safe. We can't give up." As coronavirus cases continue to rise here in Horry County, the Transportation Security Administration is taking additional measures to keep you safe as we get closer to Thanksgiving. At Myrtle Beach International Airport, passengers won't have to hand their boarding pass or ID to TSA officers. Instead, they'll insert their ID, like you see here, into a CAT machine, which notifies if a passenger can continue through security.
The CAT technology has actually been in a pilot mode for many years now. And having seen it myself in O'Hare back in 2005, the advancements that we have made from that time frame to here is really astronomical, and it's really seamless across the nation. So the same technology you see here, you'll see in Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, O'Hare, LAX, any one of the major airports, as well as our smaller airports across the nation.
You'll also see TSA officers wearing face shields like that one, masks, gloves, and wiping down blinds, tables, and x-ray machines.
Well, temperatures slowly dropping this evening, but with warmer air moving in, muggier air moving in, we're not going to drop as much. We're still sitting in the upper 60s right along the Grand Strand, a bit cooler the farther inland you go. But this tomorrow morning, it's a cool start, but unseasonably warm for this time of the year. 61 degrees along the Grand Strand, upper 50s inland. Those numbers will continue to climb as we head into the weekend. Tomorrow afternoon, around the 70s, likely well into the middle 70s area-wide, even to the Grand Strand, and then looking towards dinner time, a slower drop. That will be the story here for the weekend. Although with those onshore winds, it's going to blow some showers in as we head through tomorrow afternoon and evening. Not expecting a big area of heavy rain, but notice by the early afternoon, starting to see some of those coastal showers, and those will continue through the weekend. I'll look at those warmer temperatures through Saturday and Sunday, and a chance of some heavier rain, more widespread in the 7-day forecast. It's here in a few more minutes.
Tidelands Health is making it easier for you to get that flu shot this year. Every Friday until December 4th, the healthcare provider is offering walk-in flu shot clinics, in fact, starting tomorrow morning. They'll be at the Tidelands Health Medical Park location. That's at the Market Common, and they'll be held until noon every day. You don't need an appointment, and it is free for those with insurance. It's going to cost you $25 if you do not have insurance. Conway Medical Center working on plans for a hospital in Carolina Forest. These changes are coming after the Department of Natural Resources didn't approve of the original ideas because of what they said were too many environmental concerns. The revisions all came after this letter was sent that you just saw to the Horry County Planning Commission from SCDNR. It's asking for the rezoning request to not be approved because of those environmental concerns. The proposed area is right along International Drive. That's just north of the farm neighborhood. It's also next to the Lewis Ocean Bay Heritage Preserve. In the letter, DNR says the agency performs regular controlled burns within the preserve. CMC changed the original plan for the hospital to be on the northwest corner around 5,000 feet to the southwest corner to create what they call a, quote, natural buffer. This will be between the hospital and DNR concerned property.
Our engineer reached out to several hospitals and hospital engineers out in California where they have experience dealing with smoke and wildfires, implementing some of the technologies that they've used in California to make sure, again, just going that extra step to make sure that the facility is safe for not only our employees but for our patients.
Argo says some of the plans are to add extra ventilation and filters. The new plans will be presented sometime next month. Thanksgiving's still some weeks away, but many are already in the Christmas spirit, especially the giving spirit. Patrick Lloyd shows us how members of one Myrtle Beach community are happily giving to those less fortunate through the Salvation Army's Angel Tree Project.
I'm here in the Cresswind community of the Market Common. It's a neighborhood that's really known for being very dedicated to the Angel Tree program. Today, folks from the community had the chance to come by to pick up a tag. If you don't know how the Angel Tree works, you just grab a tag, and each of those tags has the name of a child and things they want for Christmas this year. So you take a tag, buy the things that child listed, and then bring it back so those toys can go to less fortunate kids. Lynn Willett lives in the neighborhood and helps organize this each year. She says Cresswind residents are known for going above and beyond.
What I'm noticing with our community is instead of taking one tag, a lot of people are taking 2 and 3 and 4 and saying, if you have any extra, don't take them back to the Salvation Army. Tell us and we will take more tags.
And WNBF News is a proud partner with the Salvation Army for the Angel Tree program. So we encourage you, if you're able to give this holiday season, please do. Reporting in Myrtle Beach, Patrick Lloyd, WNBF News.
Monday, WNBF News and the Salvation Army officially kick off our Operation Rescue Christmas campaign for Angel Tree. Join us throughout the day as we learn more about the increased need in 2020 and the new ways to help. Our coverage starts Monday morning on WNBF News Today at 5. Well, as the saying goes, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I subscribe to that. That is true for tonight's classroom champion as well. In just 3 minutes, you're going to meet the teacher who's turning her passion for helping children into a reality.
It's my joy to introduce you to our next classroom champion. She began her teaching career 4 years ago at Socastee Elementary School. The person who nominated her as a classroom champion didn't tell her exactly why I was doing the interview, so it was all a surprise when I told her she was chosen. Here's her reaction.
Oh, yay! They're all sitting here looking. Yay! That's so sweet.
Yeah, this is not just a random interview. I am only interviewing you because you have obviously won this recognition.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm emotional.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. That's so sweet that they did that.
Meet Jessica Kirby, 3rd grade teacher at Socastee Elementary School. When Horry County Schools reopened in September, she taught 1st grade. Less than a month later, when virtual students could move back to brick and mortar learning, the enrollment numbers grew, and that's when Kirby moved to 3rd grade.
You know, I was nervous hearing the news about moving to a different grade level, but I've had so much encouragement, and I think on the other side of this, I'm going to be such a better teacher than I was before.
And tell me about the love you have for teaching. Was it something you wanted to do, your whole life? Where do you find that passion?
I definitely say that it is my passion. I've always wanted to teach. There's pictures of me as a little girl, 5, 6 years old with all my stuffed animals lined up teaching them, and my mother still has those amazing, embarrassing pictures.
A childhood dream turned into reality.
I'm honestly so impressed by these kids. We need to give our students more credit because they are rocking it. Even the 1st graders I were with, and now the 3rd graders, they're blowing me away. They're teaching me new stuff and every day, and they're doing a great job.
And with all of the changes right now, at the end of the day, she's doing what she loves.
Making sure we're social distancing and keeping our health our #1 priority. But the love, I want to make sure that they still feel loved. And that's just, part of having a good attitude.
And that's why Jessica Kirby is a classroom champion. In the studio, Audrey Bisk, WNBF News.
Next at 7:30, an update on the number of unemployment claims filed in South Carolina last week and when officials say a possible COVID-19 relief package could be available.
Now the certified most accurate forecast from First Alert meteorologist Robert Whitehurst.
Going to keep the warm weather going here the next few days. 60s in the morning, so certainly warmer than the 30s and 40s we had earlier in the week. 70s for the afternoon, and we'll get some spots near 80 as we head into Saturday and Sunday. One change, though, the clouds starting to move back in, and there will be some showers around here the next couple of afternoons. And the reason is we have all the onshore winds, so we'll have some showers that develop offshore with the Atlantic, and then they'll swing in and they kind of fall apart the farther inland they go. But Horry County and Georgetown counties have the best chance of seeing some of these downpours around, not just Friday, but we'll likely keep that trend going both Saturday and Sunday. not all that widespread, but future radar certainly picking up on that potential here through the weekend. It will be warm. In fact, it will turn even warmer as we head into early next week. Upper 70s by Sunday, and then we'll have temperatures pretty close to 80 here along the Grand Strand for early next week. The mornings continuing to warm, and they're getting pretty close to our average high this time of the year in the mornings on Monday and Tuesday, and we're really not seeing any drops in temperatures here, at least over the next 8 to 9 days. Down to our south, Ada, much weaker now that it made landfall, but it's set to reemerge in the western portions of the Caribbean. Will likely regain tropical storm strength. And latest forecast track takes it over Cuba, near the Keys, and then back out to the Gulf of Mexico as we head into early next week as a strong tropical storm. So that forecast track keeps it south of here. There's a chance it tries to swing up through the Gulf Coast and potentially through the Carolinas another 8 to 9 days down the road. A lot of uncertainty there, but what we will see, even with it to our south through early next week, is a lot of moisture heading our way. We'll get some of that in here by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. And you notice the rain chances dip a bit early in the week. Then they start to increase by Wednesday, and that rain will likely turn more widespread, even a little bit heavier as we head towards next Wednesday and Thursday. So well after the weekend, but that's kind of the next thing that we're watching. Here's the 7-day forecast, and as I mentioned, no drops in temperatures. They'll just continue to climb through the upper 70s. Pretty muggy for this time of the year, starting this weekend, continuing through next week, eventually bumping up those rain chances by Wednesday and Thursday. In inland areas, middle 70s, a low point tomorrow, and he has afternoon highs close to 80 by the end of the weekend.
Another Grand Strand movie theater is getting set to welcome back guests after temporarily closing the doors. Tomorrow, the Grand 14 movie theater at the Market Common will reopen. Officials say they're asking studio partners to move up release dates for films, and all theaters will adhere to local and state health guidelines. Also happening tomorrow, applications are due for Myrtle Beach entrepreneurs looking to secure a spot at the new Charlie's Place Business Incubator. There are 4 units available for rent. The entrepreneur incubators will start at $250 a month for people who live in Myrtle Beach, $420 for people who live outside of the city. To apply, head over to WMBFnews.com. Just search for this story. In your consumer news, the South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce is reporting more than 3,300 unemployment claims from last week. It's actually a decrease of more than 400 claims from the week before. There have been more than 770,000 claims since March 15th. DEW says it's paid more than $4.5 billion since the start of the pandemic. A new round of coronavirus stimulus funds could come by the end of the year. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now calling for lawmakers to strike a deal as they return to work next week. That's a shift from his recent suggestion that legislation was more likely early next year. Talks have been stalled since the summertime, with both sides locking over a price tag. Your health headlines tonight. November, National Diabetes Awareness Month, and this year the American Diabetes Association's theme is We Stand Greater Than. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither brings us some important information on the disease growing in America.
It's a disease that impacts more than 34 million people in the U.S., and 1 in 5 Americans don't know they have it. Diabetes. It happens when your body can't control blood sugar levels. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it's the 7th leading cause of death in the U.S. Diabetes types 1 and 2 are the most common forms. 9 out of 10 diabetes patients are diagnosed with type 2. That's where your body doesn't produce enough insulin or use it correctly and is unable to keep blood sugar at normal levels. With type 1, previously called juvenile diabetes, your body makes little to no insulin. And while there isn't a cure yet, you can stay healthy by managing your lifestyle. A person can lower their chances of developing type 2 diabetes by losing weight, maintaining regular physical activity, and following a healthy diet. Keep an eye on possible symptoms such as frequent urination, excessive thirst, and slow healing wounds. People with diabetes are at higher risk for serious health complications such as heart disease and stroke, so it's important to maintain your regular checkups. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Still ahead, a look at the importance of voting, what it's taken for many to get the right, and the future of activism across the nation. Today, officials with the city of Florence and community members gathered to discuss the future of a Black Lives Matter mural. Right now, it sits on Barnes Street outside the Pearl Moore Basketball Center. City leaders are looking to have it removed after the organizer who painted it used permanent paint instead of biodegradable paint. While no decision was made today, officials say they continue working with the community to come up with a solution.
Yeah, it's really good. I was really happy to see everybody was on the same page. Nobody was arguing, there was no bickering. We just want to come together. Everybody's agreeing that it's time to be one force, one positive force, and do what's best.
No word on when the next meeting will be, but officials are hopeful it'll happen in the next few weeks. We'll keep you posted. As you probably know, millions of Americans made their voices heard this election year by casting ballots. Many are also reflecting on what it took to get the right to vote and just how important voting really is. Gray Media's Dawn G stops to reflect on a moment with a civil rights icon while also meeting the next generation of activists in her family.
Justice, equality, and peace is a constant struggle.
Civil rights activist and icon Maddie Jones' life is well documented and honored.
We must work on it, build that building, and build the change that we want every day. Not only just when we vote, but every day.
Some may feel their civic duty is done after casting their ballot, but Jones believes it is just the beginning.
During my time, when we could not vote, we had no say in nothing. You have a say in the education of your children now. You have the education of getting a career for yourself. You have a privilege of living in any part of the city that you want to live in or going in any part of the state.
That did not happen by chance. Her life and her time has been dedicated to the fight for justice and equality.
I never sat on my porch and sang nursery rhymes or said nursery rhymes to my kids. I sung freedom songs. That's how I put all my grandkids to sleep.
Brianna Harlan is one of those grandchildren. She is now a graduate student in New York working on her master's in fine art, concentrating on art and social action. She is also part of an exhibit at 21C Museum Hotel in downtown Louisville. The exhibit focuses on issues related to voting rights, democracy, and citizenship. Her display shares her grandmother's struggle in the battle for equal rights.
No matter how many times you close the door, no matter how many locks you put on it, this is my voice.
Harlan, like her grandmother, stresses we cannot simply disconnect from what's going on because we disagree.
If this is a true democracy, this is my participation. I will be part of shaping the type of world that I want to see. I will be part of shaping the values of this country. I will be seen.
Different voices, each beginning at a different time, but the message to us all is the same.
Don't you know one time we rode on the back of the bus? We had only 2 seats in the back of the bus, and now we have drivers driving the bus.
Democracy, power and civic responsibility exercised by all for the protection of human rights for all.
87 years old, never missed a primary or general election.
Jones also never missed a chance to educate, engage, and enlist the next generation. Her granddaughter is now on the same journey, just taking a different road.
If this isn't the wake-up call, this moment in history with the planet raging and a pandemic going around and the democracy performance of the United States finally cracking, then what is?
Dawn G with that report. Civil rights icon Maddie Jones was presented with the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Freedom Award early this year. She's also in the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights Hall of Fame.
We're going to continue with that warm weather here the next few days. 70s around as we head through the afternoon, and we'll see temperatures climbing close to 80 as we head into Saturday and Sunday. There will be some showers around tomorrow and a few of those for the weekend, but it's not a washout any one of these days. But the best chance of seeing those closer to the Grand Strand. They kind of form out over the Atlantic, blow in, but notice the temperatures turning warmer. 77 by Sunday. Those mornings only down into the middle 60s, so pretty mild. And that warm weather's not going anywhere over the next 2 weeks. Running about a 70% chance of warmer than normal temperatures focused across the eastern seaboard here. So we're really not seeing much in the way of cool weather, and certainly not over the next 7 days. We'll continue to bump up the afternoon highs through the upper 70s. A better chance of rain, though, next week. Some tropical moisture getting in here by Wednesday and Thursday. We'll get some heavier rain until then. Just a couple showers this weekend. Temperatures near 80 through next week. Eric?
All right, Robert, well, coming up tonight at 11, as coronavirus cases continue to rise, health officials urge you to stay vigilant. What the governor of North Carolina says about the next steps for reopening businesses in that state. Also, stay tuned for NBC News' special election 2020 coverage starting at 9 o'clock. Of course, for updates on all of our top stories and election results, log on to WNBFnews.com. We will see you back here at 11 o'clock. Have a safe evening.